the first tests. So that means, in a way, that in a few sessions, we actually been able to get rid of the interior tumor. And, that brought me a lot of understanding as well. And basically, we decided to try that as a point of reference. I'm talking about the whole device. And we start using this device, let's say, in a wireless way. So we've done a few tests on a few people when we've been able to receive a physical confirmation. So I was in the UK, and the other people were in Poland, and I linked up them in a way. I don't understand the really process here, but I know it started definitely. And then basically when I start giving them, because, well, maybe in another way, when I realized that my wife decided to get rid of the tumor, in a way I understood that I'm a giver. So I was the person giving the fields to start the reaction, but actually the whole reaction was in a way controlled by my by my wife. So then I get like more confidence of myself, and I said, okay, why not? Why we not gonna try that with others? And when we start the reaction, so when I start using this device as a point of reference, and I was sending that to other people, they become a very, let's say, peaceful, and we've done that through the Zoom chat. So in an experiment, when we ran the experiment, there was 10 people involved in this, and another 30 or 35 people was listening what's happening. And the differences in those people taking a part in the experiment was so massive that those people listening to us, they said that every single person taking part in the experiment has a very, very big change in their voices. And when they start describing their feelings, they all been saying they are very emotionally flat, let's say. And they've been very calm, very quiet. Obviously, there was some kind of physical sensations as well. So that things brought us to the understanding that actually we can use the devices as a wireless ones, but as a point of reference of ourselves as well. So I don't know, Mr. Cash, what you thinking about this, but we definitely know that we can extend it. We can move on with this through the plasmatic technology. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Cash. We're not hearing you.
As I usually say, good morning. You understand fully. You've been around to understand this way.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, there is a lot of questions which one I've got, because I was thinking how we can directionize the plasma fields from ourselves. Is that the process which one we have to go through our understanding, or we can play with this like kids in the playground?
I think till we don't play, we don't learn. That's why we play.
Okay, thank you very much.
Football, we learn, oh, we can kick the ball and slightly with the other side of the foot, it goes further and where we want. As this in English, it says practice makes perfect. Huh?
Yes, that's correct.
So you have to understand, and this is what I keep on saying, and a lot of people they don't understand. You take from this technology according to your intelligence, and you take from it with what you're comfortable with. And
yes, that's correct.
You understood. You don't really need the box. A box still is a point of reference.
Yes, that's correct.
So if you understood this, I'm trying to battle with our innovation center to get across what you just explained. I hope they understood what you said.
Okay, Mr. Cash, I would like to thank you very much. It's really big confirmation for myself, but not only for myself, because there is another person very close to me, and we run pretty much the same experiment parallel to that one in the UK. And he's using a bit different device. I can share it that as well. Just if you can give me a second, please. And basically what's happening, that brought me the part of understanding as well, because there is quite a lot of people coming into that system, and with the different diagnosis, with the different sicknesses, and they all coming out from the system not maybe in a health way healthy, but in a emotional state. They coming out like bless, whatever that means, and they start the process. I can see that even on my wife, where she start making a development in her own comprehension. It's absolutely amazing. So that means through the plasmatic fields, we can raise up the, let's say, intelligence or comprehension in the same way, in the same manner. So I will try to find that second picture.
I tell you what, you have to understand why. In the quality you make, you have added the thing outside.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Of course, yes.
So side and because you have a copper, zinc, and iron, and you have the man in a confinement of the freedom of the emotion, you add to it, you elevate it, they get enlightened, they find peace. And because you have that zinc, and I'm sure you have amino acids somewhere in it, you didn't make a perfect nanomaterial without GANs of amino acid on it. You have the common denominator to reach any man, anywhere. The only thing they do, or you do, you point the attention to where the system is.
Yes, that's correct.
It's like you BBC sends messages out, you know it's London, but you pick it up in Poland. You understand?
Yes, yes.
And because you have made that reference, you actually, the machine is there and 10, 15 million people live in London, they're not aware of it. Maybe they receive some of it. If they're in that point of intention that they need something from it, you're not there, you can't control. It's like one of these things, you make a power supply and everybody tag into it and you pay the bill. You understand?
Yes, actually, yes, Mr. Cash, because what we observed, because I'll start talking about that second person in Poland, which one is very developed in understanding as well. We came to the conclusion that actually device is not for us, but is for the people which one do not have the same comprehension. They still need a matter confirmation. So actually those systems are for them more than for us. Am I correct with this in a way?
More or less. You see, in a different way, in your explanation, you confirm what we said, the bleeding. With the bleeding, we get rid of all what we don't want. And in a way, Dr. Rodriguez, if he's with us now, can explain to you about the calcium discharge from breast. We become conscious of what we want and how we want it, and the way we want it, and what we are happy with. And all it is, now you have put a lamppost out, and everybody knows where to go to. But they will not necessarily receive what you hope they receive, because they're not there to receive what you give them. It's just like go to a restaurant, you put 10 different starters, and not everybody eats from the same starter and all the starters. This is what you got to be aware of. People go into the machine, yes, I have cancer, I want to get rid of it. But in reality, in emotion, I don't want to, because if I do, there is no one to look after me, I don't get that attention. But when you go in, because you elevated the emotion of the need, and the body starts supporting it, when you come out, you start working on 2, now you're on 4. When you go to the machine next time, oh, it's good to get rid of it, but I still need a little bit of time for myself. So now you're still receiving it, you go to 6. By the time you come to the 4th time, you're 10. The body doesn't need it. The physicality is gone. If you go in the depth of the illness of your wife, the position, and go back into the psychology of it, you see she was the instigator, 99.9%. Through the machine and the zinc oxide and amino acid which connects with her, you have satisfied the need. I don't need to eat, I don't need a tumor. That's how it is. And with your friends, you have created what I'm trying to teach to our other guys in innovation, is the intention which creates the wireless communication, and they don't understand this somehow.
Well, that's absolutely beautiful what Mr. Kesh is saying now, because that gives me a lot of confirmation with things which one I was considering, but because that is very new field of experience for myself, I still was needed a bit from outside. So, so thank you again for everything.
Now I'm going to explain something to you personally. And
Awesome.
You understand what I'm about to say. You started teaching and conditioning to the Polish people weeks ago, months ago, because you thought it has to be shared, and you shared it unconditionally. And the more you shared, the more you received. And in a way, about without the cancer, the payback for understanding unconditional sharing. You understand?
Absolutely, Mr. Kesh, yes.
So that's what I say. The more you give, the more you receive, and that receiving, it satisfies where your concerns are or what you're short of. Enlightenment comes out of giving, not out of buying.
Correct. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Now you can thank the Creator.
Okay, thank you.
So, this is what I say in most of the teachings for those who understand. The temple of God should come in the house of God, which is the heart of the man, not in bricks and blocks, and there are no temples in space. When you share, this is what Christ did. He receives. When you share, you receive what you did not want, which was one of your wife not to be there when you cancer. Now she is there because you solved it. maybe what we say is the thank you to your work. It's the knowledge which gives that thank, nothing else. And it's your work to share. We see a lot of this around, but people don't understand the explanation. This is Dr. Rodriguez. Am I correct?
Yes, he is. Yeah, that's Mr. Rodriguez. Yeah.
You will see a lot of him. He's not just a doctor by name, but he's devoted his life to humanity. You will see it. Anything else to share? Or shall we call it a day?
Well, it's full of teaching in that sense. Hello? I think
Hello, Mr. Cash.
wants to share.
There is a voice back.
Yeah, this is Florian Vava from France, trying to communicate with you, if possible.
You have to ask the boss. I'm like you. I'm a participant. The boss is Rick. He decides.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. If we can get a good connection and you've got something to share. I know you were trying to share your screen earlier, but it was interrupting what we were looking at. So
Yeah, I'm very sorry. My English is so poor, so I try to share with you some how to say. I did a lot of good to my mother. She is 82 years old, and I would like to share what I have done to her, thanks to your technology, Mr. Cash. Thank you so much. And maybe you are curious to know about this case.
I think we could go ahead with that. Does that sound okay, Mr. Kesh?
We are curious about everything. That's why we are human beings.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do you have some pictures? Do you have pictures you want to share, or do you have a video that you or
Nothing special for the moment. No, I just want to tell you a few words, if that's okay with you.
Oh, you don't have any pictures? Okay, then I'll continue just sharing.
I'll make it simple. My mother, she's a, I would say, older woman, 82 years old, and she was very weak. She had a lot of, my English is so poor, but I would say aggression, some kind of a problem with her eyes. And because of this, I gave her some liquid plasma, about 92%, how to say, zinc oxide and CH3, about 3%, and copper oxide, about the rest, up to 100%. And how to say, I don't know the word for these little things, some kind of little bugs which are acting on the eye. And she was very, very, very upset about this. Anyway, she started to wash her eyes with this water plasma, and 3 days later she had no more aggression of these little bugs. And 1 week after, she told me that she had some kind of a dark spot on her left eye, big as a, how to say, about maybe 4 or 5 millimeters wide. And this spot began to disappear. After that, I told her to start drinking this water plasma of all this mixture I've made for her. And she reported me that this spot is disappearing almost completely. Also, some old pain she had in the shoulder because she fell down a few years before, disappeared also. She has a lot more strength. She's a lot more powerful, and she feels great. She feels like she is 40 years less than her actual age. Also, she told me that she became a lot more, I would say, friendly with her friends and the people on the street and so on. She's a lot more confident in herself, and this is what I wanted to share with you. It was such a beautiful result, and I thank you so much. Well, this is it, and after that, I would like to ask you something about some of my health issues I have, if I may.
Go ahead. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cash. And yes, I had some kind of big troubles with my health. A few years ago, I had a heart stroke. My my arteries were dilated, if I can say so, and I had a stent put on my in one of my heart arteries, coronaries. A few years later, I had myeloma cancer, you know. This is not a localized cancer, it's a generalized one, which I had to struggle with. And it was a very unpleasant experience. Now I'm, for a few time, I am free of it. And also I had a new build-up in my cholesterol, and I've been put a new 3 times stents in my arteries. And I think that there is a common cause of all this, and I don't know how to treat myself. Maybe you could suggest me something. Thank you so much for your patience.
As you have a stent in your heart, I don't discuss anything.
Yeah.
Because this can be a bigger problem. That's why I say when they place foreign objects in the body, trying not to get involved, because when you put it in the right order, the blood vessels can shrink or open up, and the thing will move.
Oh yeah.
Then it will move, and then it causes a bigger problem. So these things has to be done in a coming time in the future, where we gather a full knowledge, and then the physicians remove these foreign parts, and then you can do the reverse process through plasma technology. Anyway, I see that at this moment. But on the other hand, you have to realize that the knowledge is rapidly growing, that we can remove parts from internal body organs. But at the moment, the success we see is primarily on the GANs, or what we call plasma condition of the body, not on the foreign object placed. We can now, with the science, move the center of cancer, be it a calcium, be it iron or a copper. But the knowledge has not extended to the limits that we can remove, for example, pins and other things.
I think I understand very well.
Our knowledge at the moment hasn't extended to that far to do. And on the other hand, in the previous researches, when, for example, there has been pins, I refuse, because if you understand, for example, when they put the plates on the vertebra in the body and they just secure it with nails, now you're trying to produce discs to create separation to release the pain on the nerves. Now, when you produce the disc, then the disc, when you produce the tissue between the two sections, then the bones have to move, and in that movement, the pins and then fix the crack the bone, and then we create the problem. So we have to add to the knowledge that how fast can we replace, we can grow parts that, for example, we put in a fixed condition for a short time, we take the pins out, we allow natural growth or repair to be done, and then you move. The way the technology is growing, repairing organs and building, for example, amputated toes and fingers, in a short time, shorter than you can imagine, will be done in a matter of hours and days. It needs a more understanding by the physicians in what part of the brain you need to trigger to speed up. The example of it is when you, for example, cut a piece of your finger by accident, the piece of the muscle cuts off. This muscle tissue or piece of the finger, let's say the tip, which is not the whole structure, let's say a month, is replaced. But if it was left to a natural process, maybe this part was not supposed to be replaced in less than under 2 years. So the brain has the capability to speed up or concentrate, send a message to one place to speed up the what I call reproduction. Understanding this is now for the physician and scientists, what we call scientists as you lot, and doctors, to how to get to this trigger point of speeding up. What do we need to trigger? And when we trigger, what would happen? Can we, in a case of amputation, in the hospitals in the very near future, I'm instigating this actually to be done in Ghana, because in these parts of all these things are very important. But can we move and develop very cheap, simple system that when somebody walks into the hospital with a toe or a foot crushed, needs amputation, the doctor does the amputation and places the system straight away facing the cut, knows how to speed up and wrap it. And in 3 months, 6 months time, instead of putting a man through all the physiotherapies and building all the false arms and legs, the body has produced itself. The knowledge is there. It's just now that we are expanding it. The doctors, the scientists start implementing it and taking it further. We see a lot of changes in the world of medicine with respect to foundation work. It makes sense. We explain it to them scientifically. But now, can you imagine you had to go to microsurgery to sew a finger back, and then you go to the kidney transplant and do all the opening and cutting, and all these things in the next few years becomes history. But we have to do those to learn about the knowledge that we have. It's not that it's wrong, it's that we're going to the next step of knowledge. Now, with the knowledge we have, even today, even if we wouldn't have all these obstacles put on by the pedophiles on the internet, all of them, anybody who writes opposition to us, a whole bunch of pedophiles, they have to satisfy their need, which actually brings more credibility to us because they can see it. Doctors would have been running around and doing it, and so many people wouldn't have walked around with limbs and legs and arms, not there. But in a way, we needed this gap to mature ourselves, to mature the knowledge, and more people to understand. Otherwise, it would have become a bunch of elites, we become another Masons, and other groups that we only understood. Now everybody is understanding. The break is the safety that now up the hill, we don't go backwards. And it is very, very interesting. I see it in the next maybe year, 2 years, we will see the first people growing their own arms and legs, but it's done in the hospital. You come out, you see a piece of apparatus in front of the leg, no bleeding, no infection, and you will see every time you see the man in a few weeks' time, he has grown more leg of himself than anything else. We would wear things like braces that we wear now, but the braces are flexible. They grow down, it's like a scaffolding going down as you finish building to the toes and the things. Reptiles do it, we can do it too, but now we know the process. I explained this in the teaching to the conference because here lizards are everywhere. So they all say, when you play with them, when you're a child, the tail comes off and it grows. Now we explain the cycle, the method, the physiology of how it happens. It makes sense to them. Now we have two choices. In our DNA, we have to go back and find out what is the strength of nano-making layer in our body. The reason we do not produce amputated parts is because we do not create a high energy that high energy can lead to creation of nano layer in the last layer of our body. Reptiles can do by chemical, which is in their blood or in their muscle tissue, which is mainly by blood or by the length. We have lost that ability, or because we use so much of our energy in different way, we cannot create high heat. It's exactly what we do in our nano coating. We use a high fire or high energy or a high temperature of the caustic or high electricity to create a nano layer. If our doctors can create a nano layer rapidly, that they can do the transformation, but at a high temperature, that it can absorb all the energies, then we can grow arms and legs and hearts and no problem. The problem is our body does the nano making, but it doesn't do it so efficiently. It makes the nano out of our emotion and not out of our life. When we cut ourselves, we bleed. That blood, when it comes out, is the nano layer, but it's a nano layer of the emotion. We don't build a very fast layer of the lymph site. This is the problem in most of the mammals or hot-blooded animals. This is where the concentration of the technology has to go. Can we produce, at a point of amputation, a system, a technology that is like putting a fire into the lymph before the blood nanosizes? This is the problem. And then if we can do it, because that lymph carries all the information of every cell or the strength of every cell in the body of the man, and especially if it's at the end of your finger where the amputation has happened, it's there because it's of the right strength. It's not there because it's the lymph for your toe. So the man of science have to understand this phase. We are missing the call it nanization, that the lift to nanosize to become a nanoparticle that can absorb the information of the lift, which is for the physical side, the way it does with the emotion side. And then the two together will allow the production of now, because the information which comes, it gets absorbed and the body will reproduce itself. This is adding to the knowledge, and the physicians who work around us are gathering this very, very quickly. Our biggest problem at the moment in the medical section, not the biggest problem, one of the challenges is how do we reproduce organs, and how can we reject organs which we don't need that a new one can be built. For this, we have to go to the essence of the creation in man. How come we put an organ inside, we call it a child, and at a given time the body rejects it. And different animals have chosen different period of maturity for rejection. So there is a control in the method of rejection. We have to understand this. Now with the plasma technology, can be replicated. I have a liver which is totally, by alcohol or whatever reason, or in an accident, is devastated. Okay, I reject it. But I have the capability to reproduce it because I understand the emotion which needs to be done. These are the things which the new structure in plasma technology has opened to all of us. It'll take time. Just as I said in the conference, if the finances which is made available to the military for the gun is made for the hospitals and for malaria, there will be no guns because everybody will be happy. There's no crime. And there's no need for guns. We have to start teaching through our teachings. The man of arms, the military and the governments, we chose you, we elected you, we want that you spend money on us, not on metals, or pieces of things that you have to pay.
May I ask you another question, Mr. Cash, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I know very well that you don't, and you are right of doing this, you don't encourage us to do some medical experiments. I would like anyway to take the risk, and I said this anyway. My heart muscle is dead. In my heart is only 35% ejecting the blood, as part of my heart muscle is dead now. And I was thinking of using the technology you said about how to say the hemoglobin, which is made by adding a rod of my word in English is missing. Iron. Yes, thank you so much, Rick. And I was thinking of using this for eventually rebuilding my dead muscle cells of my heart, considering that.
Let me tell you something.
Yes, thank you so much.
If you are contemplating on something like this is your right. You're the man, you're literally the last man standing, because if you die because of it, that's it. So you're the same as the last man in the space. But fortunately, you have, or you're there, or you can find a doctor who can understand what you're trying to do. And Pardon? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, it was weak there for a minute.
Can
but
you hear me?
Yes, it's better now. Thank you.
Better now, no problem. What I said is that you're as the last man standing, and it's your life, and you know the possible solution. Find yourself a physician that continuously can monitor your heart and continuously can monitor the stem. That at a given point, you've got to find yourself a heart specialist who knows, understands, that at a given point, when you start building the muscles to a point of, what do you call it, operation or part operation better than before, they can withdraw this metal, they can withdraw this material. I don't see any reason why not. But before you contemplate on it, go back to your physician. Go back to the doctor who did the surgery.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do have such a doctor. He is following me. I'm sorry, and eventually I can ask to him to look at this specific point of mine.
Depends how and what is the why you have 35% operation. You have to understand the reason.
This was because of my earlier heart stroke. My artery was blocked, and there was no enough oxygen for my heart to live.
You can rebuild it. It's not a problem.
I beg your pardon?
You can rebuild your heart muscles back to full operation.
I would be so happy.
It should take between 60 to 95 days, 110 days, no more.
I can't hear you very well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't hear your voice,
Can
Mr.
you hear me?
No, but I think it's the wrong microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Better, yeah. I said you can rebuild your heart. It should take something between 60 days to 95 days, maximum 110 days. But you have to understand that you need to follow two paths with your doctor. One is that you saw Dr. Rodriguez with a pipe in his hand, with a pipe around it. The guy from Austria brought with him to the conference this week, one of those two. You need to put in that pipe zinc oxide, copper oxide. Yeah, this pipe, exactly. In the outer ring, you need to put the zinc oxide, copper oxide, and CH3. Very, very small amount of CH3, and some CO2 and CO2. You need to use it to breathe. Don't use anything else. Just use this to breathe. 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Just make it like, the way you're going scuba diving, and just make it as it's there. You gotta use it. You just use it. But the secret with using a system like this for the heart is you have to connect it to a mask that part of the air goes through your nostrils. The air which you breathe through your nose has and carries different information than the same air as you breathe through your mouth. I always use masks. I used to heavily buy masks. I don't use pipes like this because the sensors in the mouth have sort of different energies than the sensors in the nose. And when they reach the lung, they behave totally different too. So for especially heart damage cases like you need to connect this on the other end to a mask that you breathe through your nose and to your mouth. This allows the right physical energy gases to be absorbed by the blood in the lung that allows the reproduction and regeneration of the cells of the heart. This is very, very crucial in any heart development.
Yes, I understand.
You understand? You
Yes,
cannot
yes.
do this just to suck through your mouth. With a heart and lung repair, especially lung repair, you got to understand if it wasn't so, God would not have created the nose. He would have breathed through one hole, which is our mouth, and would have eaten through it too. Even though they look like ending through the same passage, but going through the nose to get to that passage changes and creates a specific field strength for the operation of the lung and the operation of the heart. So let me explain, please.
Yes.
When you've done that, you have to make a patch of the same material to be put right around your body in two halves with separation, which means you need like a t-shirt but separated from each other. The energy has to be balanced. You don't make 2 to 1 as you're transferring energy out. You've got to be very precise in the measurement of the amino acids you put in, the CO2 you put in both jackets, the front and the back end, but they have to be, so you can't make a tube around you, you can't put a whole thing around the logo, it has to be in two halves. The reason is that heart is three-dimensional and you're trying to repair. It's different than you're trying to take something out of it or a disease out of it. You're trying to develop it. So you have to create a balanced condition in the lung tissues, plus the heart. The third thing you have to do, you have to drink from the same gas water as you made for the tube and the, what do you call it, the cover of the heart. In this way, you supply the materials for a physical reconstruction of the heart. With the jacket, you can find the position where you want to develop what needs to come to balance, and you feed it with the right energy for its reconstruction. And in that process, you have to ask the doctor continuously, keep an eye on a daily basis. You have to be watched, not every other day. And it is important that the physician has direct access to you all the time. Because once a chain of event takes place, this thing can move. They have to monitor it on a daily basis, his position. The blood cloth, they have markers, they know what it means. They see the rebuilding of the heart. You can do it 60 days. One of the ways you will see, you will feel the effect the first time or when you put it. Whenever you put this patch, you put it for 1 hour, you take it up for 2 hours. You put it for 1 hour, you take it up for 2 hours. Every time you put it on, you should feel like a heartbeatness or a kind of pressure on the heart, with somebody holding your heart. You feel the touch. and that's the good news. And as you develop the heart tissue muscles, you'll find that this feeling goes away, becomes less and less in the strength. But in that process, you understand that the heart tissue, the muscles where you had the weakness, they start getting strengthened. And all the blood vessels should start rebuilding. You monitor it around about 90 days, and then 110 days maximum, you take it off, and you leave like 30-60 days gap. Because now the body has to learn to tie up all the loose ends and the emotions and everything else. And you assess with your doctor again, and if it's needed after 2 months, you repeat the same process. Unless the heart tissue, because of its frequency of use, has gone so low that the brain has closed the brain section of the operation of the heart regeneration. It is placed, its position is just, literally just somewhere between the back of your mouth and somewhere between your ears. That's where the heart muscle regeneration part is connected, because heart has to be in charge and connection with the physicality of the soul, because that's where it feeds. So it's the first place coming up. So its position of the reproduction tissue of the heart is around the emotional part. And so what you need to do then, after 60 or 90 days, after 60 days you left it, then you have to build yourself a helmet. Then that helmet has to support the reproduction. It has to no copper in it whatsoever, but carries zinc, CHD, and CO2. Listen to this recording a few times, and you know exactly what you're going to do. Then you start rebuilding the heart tissues where it's missing. This is very easy done for children. Children who are born with heart defect. In this process, you can get the life back, and this is where it goes.
Mr. Cash, thank you so much for everything. I'm sorry. Would you be so kind and repeat the amount of GANs of each one?
You always use 50% CO2.
50% CO2. May I add the
You only need the GANs water, huh? Don't use the GANs.
Yes, sure. But the amino acids, should I add this too?
Yes, you have to.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. Cash. Bless you. God bless you. And
let me explain to you, please. What you got to do, you mix the ganses of it together first and keep that at the base. You understand? And then mix water with it to make the GANs water for the tube and for drinking and everything else. Make a GANs of it first as a mixture, and that becomes your base. And try to make everything from the same batch. If you're making CO2 to make the pipe and what do you call it, your chest unit and water to drink, use the same batch.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Cash. I can't find my words. Thank you for...
Come back. Tell your doctor to watch something. It depends which part of your heart muscle has gone, or what do you call it, you lost the power in. Ask them to monitor the pressure in each chamber. There is a way they know what to do. And then go into the teaching of what we did with Dr. Edo about the heart, and listen, let him to listen to it, because in there I explain which chamber is for what, for the blood or the emotion or the lymph or whatever. And he will tell you, if you understand that, that how, if you need to change which parameters, if you need to reduce the zinc oxide or you need to increase copper oxide. Because if the heart chamber builds up on the emotional side, you cannot just carry on with it because you have to build up the physical side with it as well, which is the length. So it needs a lot of knowledge to do this, but 50% CO2, 20% copper oxide, sorry, yeah, 20% copper oxide, 20% zinc oxide, and something like 10% CH3 should do the job.
Thank you again so much, Mr. Cash. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Shall we call it a day, or is there more?
There's always more, Mr. Cash. As you know, it's a eternal, everlasting lineup of questions and people and situations and so on. But we have to draw it to a close. I think now it's you. We're going to wear you out if we try to go too long here.
We've been at it for 3.5 days non-stop.
Yes.
It was a successful conference. I thank Benjamin. I thank the authorities of Ghana Atomic Institute. I thank the Ghanaian government who makes these things possible for us. I would like to thank the Chief of the Staff of the Army of Ghana in bringing the military on the plant floor that we can use them to spread the knowledge so rapidly. We know that part of them was second listening. It is good to see the army on the side of the nation to serve the nation. And in so many ways, if we can understand how to apply this technology very rapidly, we can develop a lot of things. As I said, if you have cancer, if you have HIV, if you have malaria, find your way to Ghana. We are here, we'll make it. Benjamin and the scientists and the doctors will support it because it has to start in a way that benefits all of us. We organize, facilitate the Ghanaian government to facilitate people of every nationality to be able to come. All you put on your application, going to Keshe Foundation as Ghana Atomic Institute Commission. Keshe, when you fill in your application at the embassies, who you visit, Keshe Foundation, Ghana Atomic Commission. We are part of the structure. Our offices are inside the Ghana Atomic Commission. And then we'll try to organize everything for you through the offices we have. This gets set up here to be able to come for what we call the treatment by the Ghanaian doctor, which will be trained how to handle and what to do. The material is available. It has to be paid for. We can accept thousands. There is no problem because Ghana is not the Africa you thought 50 years ago. It's as modern as Western countries. Actually, the quality of the soft streets here is the dream of some of the Western European nations. You got to understand, you can go on Doctors at Keshe Foundation or Doctors at the spaceshipissues.org. You make a donation to the foundation, which we use it here in Ghana for the development. You value your life. We don't accept $1.01. It has to be comparison to what you think it's worth, what you get outside and you hope to get it. But we are not looking into tens of thousands. You organize your trip. We try to find travel agencies who handle only people who come to Ghana for the process. If you have an HIV, make your way into Ghana. You go home as good as before you had it. If you have cancer, make your way to Ghana. Let us change through Ghana. We change the rest of the world. We're not going to be here long, but the Ghanaian scientists will be told how to do it, and they will do the process. And we have one of the geniuses of the science of plasma technology Benjamin is here. Without it, this would not have happened. But register yourself. You want to get rid of the cancer. We have the solution Atomic. And God Atomic Institute with the hospital they have at their disposal. We can meet quite a lot of people. If you have malaria, HIV, and cancer, we'll send you back home safe. But you have to fill in the form. We have to do a clearance, security clearance. When you make your donation to the foundation, then we apply it and we put it through. And this allows all of us to be benefited by it. This is the beauty of it. And in so many ways, we have the solution. We sort out and come in, understand that you are part of the process of knowledge gaining. A lot of you been writing, I have a cancer, can you accept us? Now we can. Now we have the centers in the hand of the governments who will do it for you, and they do it with the pleasure because it will teach them how to support their nationals. On the other hand, very soon, in the next couple of weeks, we will announce the first health center, the position of it in Europe. The first, what we call Plasma Health Center of the Keshe Foundation, will be ready. Dr. Klaus will explain to you how and where. It's a health center you can go to for different diseases or whatever, using different applications or systems which are there. Those of you who are involved in decontamination and water pollution, write to Keshe Foundation. It's called KF Distribution at Italy, KF Distribution Italy. They will have the process available for all sorts of contaminations, nuclear, biochemicals, chemicals, and rest. And we have set up this. It's a full-time staff on this side, and we can share a lot of knowledge in the contamination. But it goes back to be able to do it to the Keshe Foundation manufacturing. We are slightly linking everything up together to approach everything. Those of you who are listening from Africa, please contact again doctors at the Chip Institute for the malaria, because a lot of people will be asking what can we do. We send them there, and then from there we transfer you into where we set up Keshe Foundation at Ghana Atomic Commission for the start of the process. Thank you very much indeed for today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening teaching. And thanks also to everyone who participated, especially the wonderful women of workshops, the goddesses of Ganses, and so on, Carrie, Whitney, Nikki, and Heather, and several others that we have seen. And thank you to everyone for participating in the plasma teaching. It's an incredible thing. Okay, that's it for the 142nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, October 20th, 2016. I know there's a few more people who had questions. If you can hold them off till next week, perhaps we can get them in then. Okay, and we'll end the live stream now.